Good morning. It's Deacon Don. It's Tuesday, October 13th, 2020. Wow. The fall's charging right ahead, isn't it? That's okay. Fall's a good time of year. Today, I want to take a short reflection and talk about some things in the past, but mostly concentrate on what we can do in the future. Something hopefully that will lighten our hearts. I think many of us seem to be somewhat depressed these days and troubled, and I'd like to address that for just a few minutes. I came across a passage from St. Paul, 2 Corinthians, that really caught my eye this past week, and I really thought about it and prayed about it. Let me read it to you. The passage is from 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9 and 10. I willingly boast of my weakness, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore I am content with weakness, with mistreatment, with distress, with persecutions and difficulties for the sake of Christ. For when I am powerless, it is then that I am strong. I really thought about that, trying to understand what that passage means to me today in this time. And I came across a couple of things that I think make some sense. As I thought about it, I realized that our Catholic faith tradition has been through a lot through the ages, some very good, some not so good. We've had attacks from the world around us in the past. Things have been difficult, heretical type of teaching, governmental type of persecution, all sorts of things that hurt the faith. But we also suffered from attacks from within the church. Our Catholic faith tradition hasn't always been stellar in what we've done historically. People have done some bad things. We have shared some things that certainly weren't coming from the heart of Christ. And it's because the church as an institution is human and it makes mistakes when it deals with those human issues. But recently, we faced some difficulty in our church with the sexual abuse, horror, and scandal that erupted a couple of years ago that have really angered and shocked many of us. It disillusioned many. It caused a lot of us to question what our faith tradition is, and it even prompted many of us to turn away from it because of the human failings. And I get that. I understand why people would react that way. I had a very similar reaction of horror and trying to figure out what our church was doing in that regard. And I realized that it was people, the weaknesses of people, that caused these things to happen. Certainly not the church itself, and certainly not our faith itself. This weekend, it came a little closer to home. We found that the allegations and charges of sexual misconduct against a former priest here at St. Gregory, brought by 4 adult women, was proven to be credible. And that priest has been permanently removed from priestly duties. And that made me very sad. It created all sorts of emotions in a lot of people and a lot of pain on so many different levels. All I can say is that I think all of us need to pray for all of the individuals involved, for the healing, and hopefully to learn from it, all of us. And to be aware of how difficult it's been for these 4 women to come forward and bring this to the attention of our bishop. I applaud them for that because it takes a lot of courage. And I also want to be thankful for the bishop for handling it, with honesty and transparency and with compassion. It's hard, and it's hard for the priest involved, and it's hard for all the parishioners who knew him. But I pray for all, including the priest involved and including all of us. But still, the pain and the questions lingered. And that's where this passage came to life for me. Because where does this whole issues leave our faithful? Now I know the meaning of this passage, and perhaps not only for me, but for all of us. You see, our faith isn't in people. Our faith is our relationship with Jesus Christ, not in the human beings who have all of these weaknesses, because we can overcome those weaknesses, those human weaknesses. Because every time, if we have our faith in our relationship in Jesus Christ, it wins out, hands down, every time, through trial and through distress and through weaknesses that we humans bring to the table. Because God is in charge and really not us. With Jesus, where there's anger, we see love. Where there's disillusionment and confusion, we see clarity. Where we see hurt, we have healing. Where we experience betrayal, we find trust. And where there's fear, there is always hope. Paul was writing for the church of his time and for the people that were experiencing the difficulties of that time, but he was talking and writing for us as well. That's why this piece of scripture just is endless and timeless. It's a timeless message of hope and strength, even when we feel weak and even if we feel that we're without direction. Our trust, brothers and sisters, is in Jesus Christ. And that trust is our faith, even through the difficult times that all of us face, now being one of them. So brothers and sisters, if you feel weak, if you feel powerless, it's then that we are truly strong, if we continue to trust and have faith in our relationship with Jesus Christ. If we're weak, and it's in our weakness, in our distress, and in our difficult times, is when we're strong. God bless you all, and have a great day.